Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland. I'm Gimli and tonight I'll be joined by, first up, he's our producer and resident stat man, it's Danny the GFP. Hello Danny.
Hoi Captain.
And how thee do?
I've got my hand in my pants and I'm ready to rock.
Oh, I was going to say, one hand on your cock, the other one on a cheddar.
I don't need a whole hand, just half a finger.
Which one's which? One's round and cheesy, the other one's well round and cheesy. Next up, this man was called a fence sitter this week. I know you can all guess who it is. Step forward, Gav from She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. Hello, Gav.
I've got splinters up my fucking arse, mate, I'm telling you. Fucking fence sitter, do me a favour.
Yeah, do you know what? You want to make your mind up. This week, exactly. I mean, are you going to be in or out this week?
Hopefully, I might do a bit of both.
Okay.
Oh, hello, Tiger.
How are you?
Try to appeal to everyone as always, because that's just the kind of man you are.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you either hate me or you hate me. That's how it is.
You're Marmite.
Exactly.
Next up, a man that's been away so long, I can only really refer to him as a myth. It's Sexual Chocolate himself, FK.
Hello, boys. How are you?
Who are you?
There's a voice I didn't think I'd hear back anytime soon.
It is so good to be back.
There go the ladies' listening figures.
It feels good to be back.
Impregnating pretty much 90% of Asia.
Oh, something like that. I don't know. I just hope I don't want to be no baby daddy. That's just as simple as that. So apologies if anyone's listening that I've impregnated out there.
He's dry laid. He's got no more to give. It'll be It's like someone chucking some flour.
He come back from the Middle East on a tidal wave of spunk.
Ooh.
Trust me.
A tsunami of spunk.
Oh, Jesus. How many times did you get arrested for goings on the beach?
Do you know what? Not once.
Really?
That is a record, yeah. For the first time, I come back without any police interviews or involvement. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's not been banned for the country, so that's a step up.
That's the Bergkamp Wonderland exclusive.
But it is good to be back, though.
It's good to have you back, mate. And finally, all the way from sunny Spain, where he's still Europe's #1 consumer of Jack Daniels, it's our angry Venezuelan John. Hello, John.
Hello, fellas. How are you doing?
Do you still want to be called angry, or are you happier? Or
I'm not angry. I'm just these days I'm dismissive.
So we should change you to the dismissive Venezuelan John.
Yes, I'm not partaking in any more arguments on Twitter. I'm now just blocking all the cunts.
All we need, instead of Ozil Watch, as well as Ozil Watch, we need to have John Blocked Watch. How many is John Blocked? How many up to this week, John?
We're up to 1,215 people blocked.
Jesus.
We do have our favourite tweets of the week coming up, and there's more delusion coming from there.
Oh,
so watch out for that one listen out for that one in about an hour's time. Right then, as we like to keep you up to date with all the scores and injuries from Arsenal across the board, Danny, you're up, son.
Oh, rubbery. It's coming to the end of the season, so last week I narrowed it down to bugger all. So this one is a little bit more detailed as usual because I had a sore neck last week. The under-21s, their final game of the season, they won 3-1 away at Newcastle with 2 goals from Chupa Apcom and 1 from the legend that is Mr. Maitland-Niles. And the last game of the season finished 14th in the league out of, I think, 22 teams, which isn't too bad. Great start to the season, shit middle, quite good ending. The under-18s drew 2-2 at home to Wolves with goals from Jack Jebb. And I must say there's a superb picture of Jack that's doing the rounds on Twitter, taken by a good mate of ours, Kieran. And the other goal was scored by Tafari Moore. It was the last game of the season is tomorrow night away at West Ham, because that's been a rescheduled match because everyone else has finished their games. And so we finished 9th out of 11 teams this season. Started off with a win, then had about 100 losses, and then at the end of the season we've done pretty good, but we still finished loads of points behind. The under-16s, which is something we don't really hear much about, were playing in the Ferroli Cup, which is, I'm not sure where that's been held, but I don't think it's in the UK. We played and drew against Juventus and Padova, beat Atlanta 4-1, and then in the semi-finals we lost 3-2 to Real Madrid, which isn't too bad. I think we had 3 youngsters on trial there. I did read who they were, but I can't remember what the names were. So I thought I'd have a quick go through and see the players this season that have played the most number of games from the under-18, under-21, the Youth Cup and UEFA League were 36 games by Ainsley Maitland-Niles, 34 games by Glenn Kamara, and 34 games by Alex Iwobi. And they're the ones who played the most number of games. And our top goal scorers was Chupa Chupa Apcom with 15 goals in 23 games. Jack Jebb had 9 in 32, and Alex Iwobi had 8 in 34. And the ladies are playing tonight, 7:45 kickoff. Don't know what the score is, so if anyone's listening, don't bother telling us, because by the time you get to this, it'll be finished. At home to Watford, and this Sunday we're away to Birmingham with the team that knocked us out of the Champions League. And we're playing them in the FA Cup, and it's a midday kick-off at the Damston Park, Solihull, West Midlands, wherever the hell that is, somewhere up north. Thanks to George Bird's Arsenal Youth site, which is arsenalyouth.wordpress.com for all of that lot. And just a little bit about the injuries. Gnabry, Diaby, Wilshere and Gibbs says any day now. The Ox, 2 weeks, still not sure what the Ox's problem is. With that sounds like he's been a bad boy. No, don't know what his injury is. And Walcott and Miachi are out for the season. And most of that come from arsenalreport.com and physioroom.com. So there you go. It's all me done.
Fantastic. Our one and only match to talk about this week was our 3-0 home win to Newcastle. So let's go over to the myth himself, FK, for his thoughts on this one.
I thought it was quite an easy game, really, to be honest. Newcastle have been so poor recently. I think it was their 6th defeat in 6 games. Is that right?
A record. Well, the record was 5.
Oh, right, okay. So, I went into the game feeling quite confident, and I thought we'd been in pretty decent form since the semi-final against Wigan. And overall, it was nice to get a comfortable 3 points. I don't think we've actually had any comprehensive victories this year, or not many anyway. And I can't remember too many games where I've been at the Emirates and I'm, like 1 or 2 goals up at half time, thinking, this is the way it should be. So overall, I thought we played really well. It was nice to score a goal from a set piece. For the first one, where Cazorla crossed it in from a free kick, I think it was, and Kajani headed it home. I read somewhere actually, guys, that Liverpool this year have scored more than 20 goals from set pieces more than us, if that makes sense, in the league, and I think that's phenomenal. And you look at Real Madrid the other night against Bayern, 3 of their 4 goals came from set pieces, and I keep harping on about it, but I don't think we're effective from corners, free kicks, direct free kicks enough. And I think in the big games, in the tight games, it's such a great opportunity. So it was really nice to see us score a goal like that. I thought Ozil was superb, Ramsey was superb, and just to beat them, we were comfortable in the end. 3-0 clean sheet, happy days, and it looks like 4th place is sorted. So really pleased all round.
Definitely so. And John, over to you next, and we'll continue with Ozil Watch. He's had a couple of games back now, and he's doing all right, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's doing okay. He broke some ankles the other night with some of those runs and turns. I think, we're seeing what we missed for those months of Ramsey and also not being on the pitch at the same time. Whatever the case may be, why we didn't have, adequate backup of that level behind them. I think it's, obvious now that, those injuries kind of derailed our season. Also is just becoming more and more comfortable. And when you have somebody to pair with him and runners for him, I think he showed against Newcastle what he can do.
And we see Ramsey coming back into the team as well. When we had Ozil there before and Ramsey wasn't in the squad, do you think it affected his performance at all? Because some of us have said on this show that it seems like Aaron Ramsey and Theo Walcott were the only kind of players that were on a par with Ozil and could read his game. Would you agree with that, John?
The thing is that, if you look at the play of Rosicky and Jack, they like to take the ball and make the runs themselves. They don't do too much running behind the defenders on their own. Ramsey does. Podolski, even though he plays out wide, doesn't do too much running behind. He kind of, migrates to the middle and kind of looks for chances there. And obviously missing Theo, we've had the only other person that does that is Ox, but Ox was, injured as well for a long time. So, I think Ramsey and Theo were the only 2 that were willing to make those runs that make also effective. And without having those type of midfielders and wingers to create that space, to create that, use his anticipation and his vision, you're going to get a limited preview of what he's capable of.
And Gav, over to you next. Some might say that you've been critical of a few players on this podcast. So, Mesut Ozil, 40 million. Is he starting to justify his high price tag?
Well, I mean, I think they actually sort of proved how much they don't miss him in the week by their actually tremendous performance in the Champions League. But yeah, no, I've had no problems and no gripes with Ozil, really. I really haven't been one of these that's been sort of slagging him off. You do get a lot of players sort of like that and like that sort of type that do tend to take a season to settle in. So I've got no problems with that whatsoever. What was the best thing about the beating Newcastle is the fact it's now 19 years since Tottenham have finished above us.
Hey.
So if there's any fucking deluded fucking Middlesex scumbags listening, 19 years, we're having a laugh. 19 years, we're having a laugh. Cunt.
Lovely. I think that rounds that off beautifully. Danny, we'll continue along the lines of Ozil still. He had 91% passing accuracy. That brings so much to the team when players can be as effective as that, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm reading it. It's at 94%, which is even more impressive. And it had 69 touches, 2 shots, 4 important dribbles, and a rating of 9. And this is from WhoScored.com. And they, so I'm told, get their stats from Opta. And for them to give him a 9, and it's only his second or third game back?
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. And that first goal, I thought it was really, really good. Like FK was saying, we don't score enough goals from free kicks, set pieces. I know years ago it was always to blame because you had the Kutch done. Hey, got that right.
Hey, well done.
He was constantly taking corners and free kicks when he was shit at them. There's absolutely no point. I think he scored got a couple on target in previous years, but lately that something needs to be done about who's taking the free kicks and who's taking the corners, because I don't want to see my strikers, my goal scorers, taking corners or taking the free kicks. Unless it's Podolski, then that 300-mile-an-hour ball, as it breaks the sound barrier and kills someone and takes that defender and the goalie into the back of the net. I don't want anyone else taking them. But Podolski was brilliant as usual. It's lovely to see that Wenger's adapted the tactics slightly so that he is playing a more attacking role, and then when he goes forward, I think it's usually Ramsey or Arteta that come across to the left-hand side just to try and fill in a little bit for him. But one thing I did notice is that after Koscielny scored that fantastic goal, he got the ball, ran to the corner flag and kicked it into the crowd and got booked for it. Did anyone else see that?
Yes, I did.
I don't suppose anybody knows why he did that, or maybe it was just out of sheer...
Celebrate. I think it was down to celebrate. Now, I was watching Sky Sports. I was watching it on Sky, and I think Alan Smith said something like it was ridiculous that he got booked for celebrating a goal. He didn't take his shirt off. All he did was, kick a ball into a crowd. It's a bit ludicrous, really, I think, when it all boils down to it.
I don't think it really matters because I think it's only his second or possibly third yellow in the Premier League all season, so he's not going to be on a ban or anything. And then the second goal was really, really good. I mean, if you look back in your mind as you see the goal, I remember thinking Giroud's offside again, but he managed just to barely by the width of a gnat's testicle to be onside, and then to go down and have the shot of the goalie, which he should have put in. That was useless. He took too long. But then to quickly follow that up with another one, and then that rebounded to Ozil, and Ozil it's like he was playing a practice game. Oh, the ball's at my foot. Well, I might as well put it in. And then after Ozil scored that goal, with his left finger, he put it just below his left eye and looked at Giroud. Now, I'm not sure what it was implying when he did that, but it's just those little things in the game that I think makes me wonder, is there some kind of extra meaning behind it?
Yeah, the translation. Square the ball, you cunt.
Yeah. Stop fucking about with your hair and pass the ball.
You want to get a few more tattoos and stay away from ladies of the night.
Ugly women.
Then the third goal was from a cross and a header, which I thought that was reasonably nice, because it's good to see Giroud get one, and Ozil yet again to be involved in the build-up for the goals. And there's a little thing that I do on my site. This season we scored 93 goals, 65 Premier League, 14 Champions League, 13 FA Cup and 1 League Cup. And then I've got the assists. Our top assists in all competition is Ozil with 13, Ramsey with 10, Giroud 9, Cazorla with 8. But then the second assist is the one that I don't really see talked about much. Rosicky has 11 second assists. Now these, I go and watch Match of the Day and YouTube and go through them bit by bit, because sometimes people get them wrong, where they do occasionally mention the second assists. So Rosicky's got 11. And then Wilshire's got 10, Ramsey's got 10, Giroud's got 10, and Ozil's got 8. But I never would have thought that Rosicky would have had 11 second assists, and that shows so much how important someone who thinks a yard faster than everyone else, but may not necessarily have the pace, how important it is to have experienced players playing in the team.
One step away from the game, has anyone else heard the news that Abu Dhabi is injured? Again?
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he did in his groin.
Yeah. So
I wondered why today when I was doing that it said that he's back, unknown when he was back. I thought, oh, for God's sake.
it's like,
I mean, I said that the other week when we was talking, when we had that Aussie fella on, Dom, and we was talking about the injuries and everything, and I said to him, look, why is it that so many players break down when they come back from injury? And he said it's due to overcompensation. But I mean, fuck's sake, what is DRB overcompensating for? Do you know what I mean? His left leg is as fucked as his right leg. Do you know what I mean? It's do you know what I mean?
It's just a chain for him. It's a chain reaction of the amount of stress that he puts on those joints, on the knees and on the ankles. And when he hurts one, he overcompensates. And if you look, I mean, as an athlete, you look at another athlete's build, and he has such skinny leg from the knee down. He doesn't have large calves. He doesn't have big ankles. And I just think that if, that first injury, which was horrific, kind of, set off a chain reaction of everything else that he's experiencing now. I feel sorry for him because a lot of people would have, retired by now. But on the other hand, he is getting paid for it somewhat.
Handsomely.
Fucking stress. If I could have the stress of only working one day a year, bring it on.
Talking about
he has not played for the first team in over a year now. Do you know what I mean? And reported 50 grand a week that he's on. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of money. Do you know what I mean?
He's
that's
not
more
receiving
than
that, though, is he? I don't think he was getting paid for it, did he?
He's deferring a portion of it from what I read.
Yeah, I think so. So you've got to say fair play to him for that, but he's still,
He shouldn't be. He should, to be fair, the amount of time he's out and the amount of, I've no idea why he was put on the length of contract he was when he last signed the contract.
Parity, wasn't it?
But I think the last contract he signed was for sort of like 3 or 4 years, and he's probably played about 20 games in that time period.
396 days since he last played for the first team.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, he should not be earning the amount of, he should not have earned the money he's earned out of our club. End of. I mean, like I say, you can say, blah, blah.
Although I feel sorry for him. Yeah, I feel sorry for his injuries, but I agree with you.
I mean, you've got to feel sorry for his injuries and everything, but at the end of the day, he's a multi-millionaire. Do you know what I mean? Him and his kids have not got to worry about working for the rest of their life. So financially, he's sound. But it shouldn't have really been off the back of our club, really. It's, we should have claimed on the insurance. That's what should have happened. He should have got a nice insurance claim out, which, all professional players are insured for injuries. He should have been paid out on the insurance, and that should have been the end of it, really. But he was never he was never a 50 grand a week fucking player anyway. Even when he was good, he wasn't that good.
I mean, Denilson was on a similar wages. He just put everybody on a kind of parity wage, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Denilson is a good player compared to DRB. Do you know what I mean?
I disagree.
Seriously, no. Okay, I'll tell you what then. Name me.
You on the fence again?
No, yeah, I'm well sitting on the fence. If you can name me 5 good games, I mean, I'm talking good games that DRB had, then
no one can remember back that far.
I'll walk to Spain and kiss your ass, mate.
Well, listen. If you would have told me before the pod, I would have came up. I mean, just the last one that he played was Liverpool. Was it Liverpool last year?
Liverpool, yeah. Chelsea, he got injured against Chelsea, didn't he? And carted off against them and never played since.
League Cup final, kicks Terry in the face.
Yeah, that's a notable thing he's done. That's worth 2 games on his own.
So that's 2 right off the top of the head.
Okay, yeah.
It's talking on cut.
He had a good game against Aston Villa once, and he had a good game against the Turkish side in the Champions League.
I'm sure he's had a couple of FA Cup games where he's been put out as part of a youth-based team that he's played quite well in, but that's
I just think it's unfair. I mean, you got to a certain point where, if he was healthy, he was on the France national team without question. So I think to
That's
say
actually
that
for answer.
the Nielsen is better than Diaby it's a bit of a stretch. I'm not putting up, I'm not going to say that, Diaby's world class or anything like that, but he's a good player when he's healthy. The problem is that he hasn't been healthy enough.
You look at the season 2009-10. Sorry, Gim. He played 40 games, 7 goals, 6 assists. There you go.
Thing is, he can run and pass the ball, and he's quite tactical.
He can't run.
No, when he's fit, he can run. But Danielson
He's got a turning circle with a fucking Arctic lorry, mate. Do you know what I mean? Oh, don't, please. I'm in a good mood. Fucking, why are we talking about this prick?
I just thought it was something that had to be brought up.
No, fuck no. Yeah, I mean, you're doing this just to wind me up, aren't you?
Oh, here we go. You want something to
Fucking hell.
Up next on the running order is Bentner statistics for the last 2 years.
He's another cunt.
No, the next segment is what does Bentner have to do to become our main striker? We've got literally 3/4 of an hour on that, Gav.
I would say, I don't know. Change his name to fucking Messi, perhaps?
Only that would work. You know, there's that site called Injury League, where for every week out that you have a player that you have him out for a week, you get 1 point. And Arsenal are top of the league with 277 points this season. Villa 197, and then that lot from N17 with 194. Now people have been going, it's just an Arsenal thing, just been unlucky this season. So being sad that I am, I've gone back over the last 4 seasons. We have had 985 weeks worth of players being out. The next one is Newcastle, 876. So that means
take out. If you take out Diaby, Newcastle will be above us.
It's 3.
It'd be 2 weeks.
Yeah, it probably would. Yeah, that's going to be maybe 100 for him. But then Newcastle 876. That's 109 less than us. 109 weeks less. And then the N17 and the Manx who are struggling to qualify for the UEFA League, they're both on 845. Then Villa on 755. And the least out of the 14 teams that are still in the Premier League for the last 4 seasons, Stoke 375, Chelsea 426, Man City 465, Liverpool 509. So we've
Chelsea done well there.
I mean, we've got nearly just over double what our rivals are Liverpool, Man City, and Chelsea have had. So do with that what you want, but it's terrible.
If you take out Diaby, then you've probably that takes about 4 years. That takes out the best part of 200 for that, doesn't it?
Well, Danny,
he's probably been fit.
Right. Danny, we did a blog on the injury league. That we have a new page on the website.
Certainly do.
Yeah, and we're going to be posting some new content and stuff from myself, and we also did one for Dom as well recently.
Yeah, if you go to the main site at bergkampwonderland.co.uk, we have a new section called Goonery in Barcelona blog, which is all John's blogs that are going to go on there. And we've also got one called the Bergie blog, which is what everybody else does.
Yeah, we welcome anyone who wants to come and write a blog for us. It doesn't matter if you've been doing it for 2 years or 10 minutes. Basically, just get in touch with one of us and write us up a blog that's something that's current about Arsenal at the time, and we'll pop it up on the site and see what feedback you get.
John's in charge of that now, but we don't really want pre-match previews or post-match reviews because everybody and their grandma, my cat does 3 of those a week. So try and make it a little bit inventive.
Original content.
Yeah. So, like if there's something that pisses you off or something that you think we should talk about on this show that we haven't done, then write a blog about it and put it up, and you never know.
And if John likes it, he'll put it on.
Yeah, exactly. I should also, seeing as we're referring to the website, and before we close the whole Newcastle segment, I feel it's only fitting that we hand a congratulations to Mr. Jeff Arsenal. Is he wrapped up the predictions league yet?
No.
It's pretty much a good as.
Well, there's 9 points
to
go.
He's
It's got to be double or nothing points on
we've decided the FA Cup finals double points. FK is going to send me his at the very last second, but Jeff's on 59, FK's on 43, and John's on 49, and even Gimli's on 46. The only person who can't do anything is me at the bottom with 41, so I might be relegated. But we've got 3 games to go.
44.
Yeah,
what do you mean I'm on 43? I'm on 57. I'm 2 behind Jeff.
No, you're on 53, bud.
50, oh, that 50 the other day was, you said G. I thought you put GC in the WhatsApp group.
Oh, okay.
So I put GC's result. I know Jeff did have a 3-0. That's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
So 3 games to go, and FK is 6 points behind, but it's double points for the cup final. Ooh, so that could be a possible 10.
That's going to be interesting. I still, John, I'm coming for you.
No, fuck that.
And
I want my third place trophy.
Do you know what? It's actually going to get that serious that I think we're all going to have to WhatsApp our predictions and score lines to Danny privately. Yeah, so just so that little snide Jeff can't see and nick our results just to do a Chelsea on us.
I can tell you Jeff's fucking predictions for the rest of the season. 2-0 Giroud.
Probably will be.
Right then. FK, if we finish with you on this one and we say any other positives surrounding the Newcastle match before we move on?
Look, the players are coming back. That's the biggest fitness. Ozil and Ramsey and Jack Wilshere's been in training for a couple of weeks now, and he's fully fit. But Arsenal's being very cautious, so hopefully they'll all make the cup final, and that's what it's all about now. So 4th place in the bag, and on we go.
But would any of us be tempted to actually leave Jack Wilshere out for the rest of the season?
Personally, I probably wouldn't risk him against West Brom because I think we've got enough in the tank to beat them. And if we do that, then obviously we can rest the entire 11 against Norwich. I'd have him in the squad for the FA Cup final, have him on the bench. But if he doesn't play, then no problem. And he's going to go to the World Cup, and let's just hope he comes back in one piece and hits the ground running next season.
I was going to say, I think Hodgson came out and he said regardless of if Wilshere plays for the rest of the season, he's still practically got a place on the plane anyway. And you know he'll get flogged at the World Cup.
He will, but I think it's important that he's involved in the squad. If we can win the FA Cup, I think for him to pick up a medal. Does the entire squad pick up a medal? I think it's just the named players.
No, 10 games, isn't it? You've got to play.
No, for the FA Cup.
I think someone said we get 30 medals to give out to whoever we want. I'm sure I read it as 30. I remember thinking at the time, that's a little bit much.
Put it this way, the starting 11 and the subs bench of 7, they're all going to get a medal each. And I think having seen what he went through, and the boy was in tears after the Birmingham game. And I think for his future and just for his mentality, psychology, just give him that winning sort of boost. If we can do the cup, then I think he'd deserve to get a medal on the bench.
From everything that I read, don't you have to actually play in the match?
No, the named subs all get a medal. That's from that's been like that for years, unless one of our listeners can correct us, or Gav, do you know otherwise?
29 medals that is, by the way, because you can guarantee John Terry's going to come out from the crowd, pop on an Arsenal shirt, and he'll be there. Nothing sure. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, no, like I say, I'm just responding to FK. I've no idea what the medal situation is really. You've got to think, obviously, everybody on the bench is going to get one, and I think that's probably going to be about it. But like I say, I know the rules are with regards to the league title. If you win that, then you've got to play at least
10 games.
Yeah, because remember I think it was the last time we won the league when Wenger was messing about with Keown on the bench. Keown was warming up to get on. He was on. He had to play one more game, didn't he? And Wenger was winding him up, like saying he weren't going to go on the pitch, and he chucked him on with a couple of minutes to go so he could get his medal.
Same as Stuart Taylor back in '98. All the crowd were chanting. I'm sure it was '98 chanting, "Bring on Taylor."
Well, the reason I asked was because of that Chesney Fab discussion.
Yeah. Mm. They both need medals. They both need that winning mentality, I think.
Only one's going to be at the club next year, though.
Question on that, and I know we'll obviously talk about it in a future pod, but would you guys start Chesney in the final?
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gav?
Get off the fence.
I'm seriously, for the first time I will sit on the fence. I really don't give a fuck who starts.
Jesus, you're doing a lot for your reputation, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I don't care. They're goalkeepers, and they're both in form at the moment.
They're only bees.
I was thinking the other day that you go ahead and start Fab and bring Chesney off the bench if we have the game in hand. Just because Fab's just done. I mean, fuck me, the penalties. To get to Wembley,
Arsen's got previous. He played Seaman, didn't he? That one year in the final when he didn't play in the run-up.
Yeah, he played Seaman. Yep.
But to be honest, I think both keepers are going to get a medal if we win the FA Cup anyway. So for me, you pick your best keeper. And I know Fabianski's done really well, but Chesney's, he's here for the long term. Fabianski's leaving. So
exactly, that's the way I look at it. You're going in the summer, so fuck yeah. You got to be ruthless.
At the end of the day, I mean, everybody has a pop at me for having a pop at Mr. Wenger, but when it comes down to it, he's been honourable. And if he's turned around to Fabianski at the beginning of the season and say to him, look, you know, you're going to be the second choice keeper, but I promise I'll play you in the FA Cup games, he can't then drop in for the final because it makes himself to look a right fucking idiot. Even though Fabianski's going, it sets a precedent for everybody else. So I don't think he can do that. But it's, I like I say, after the game against Hull the other week, I struggle to really think that it's going to be. We should be debating about who the fuck the goalkeeper is. Because really, the goalkeeper should be fucking sitting on his arse in the middle of the goal doing fuck all for the game. Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is a question that, Bryce Larson, who does the Boston Gooners and Arsenal America, this was a question from him that I was going to ask later on. He says Szczesny or Fabianski, but I think you've got to think next season, how's Szczesny going to feel if he's the only one there without a winner's medal and all the others are?
Exactly.
It's a squad game these days, and you know, he knew the score. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's going to bother him. I think that Szczesny, he loves the club. You can tell he loves the club, and you can tell he's doing well, and you can tell he's knuckled down since he stopped going on social media and making a fucking idiot of himself. And I think whether he's on the bench or whether he's starting, he's going to be happy as much as us that we've actually gone ahead and won a trophy.
I'm sure he said in the papers recently that he has said that he wants to play in the final.
Of course he's got to say that, hasn't he? Every player's got to say they want to play.
Ben, does he want to play?
Just to give you an idea, for example, in La Liga, Diego Lopez is the Real Madrid keeper for all La Liga games. Doesn't matter, who they play against. And Ancelotti, separated it. Iker Casillas played the Copa del Rey and the Champions League. And Diego Lopez plays the league games. So, and they haven't deviated from that the whole year as long as, both were healthy. So if a team like Madrid can do it and has done it, I think, if you want to be a manager with, some balls and some credibility, you got to keep to your plan at some point.
If I have my way, I'll give that pair of cunts better Angie Albi a medal. Well, thanks, Gav. We'll wrap that one up. We'll move on to... Sorry, I had to check that in. Our main topic tonight sees us talk about protests from the fans. I'll keep it short and sweet, and we'll go over to Gav, who has a statement for you he'd like to read out.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I say, there's been a couple of protests sort of organised and planned and everything, and I thought the easiest way of doing it would be to sort of get a statement from one of them, from the people that I know, just to read that out. So here goes. This Sunday, 4th of May, we'll be taking action outside the director's entrance before the West Brom game, so that the custodians know our feelings on the upcoming ticket price rise. We'll be meeting at 12:30 by the Bear Roundabout, which is opposite the Armoury, and we ask all like-minded Arsenal fans to join us in this protest, which is related solely to the 3% increase and against Stan Kroenke. We're not protesting against Arsenal, because we're all fans of the Arsenal. We're protesting against a greedy billionaire owner who has done nothing but take advantage of the supporters. To quote a better American by the name of Thomas Jefferson, the truest form of patriotism is dissent. Our football club is receiving record TV commercial deals, and with a reported £100 million sitting in the bank, now should be the time when the club are looking to reduce the cost of match prices. We already pay the highest ticket price in English football, and this season has seen the introduction of the first £100 match ticket. We see this increase as an act of greed by a leech-like owner sucking every last penny out of its committed fans. It's come to the point where Mr. Kroenke is preying on people's emotional attachment to Arsenal Football Club, with an attitude, if you can't afford it, we'll get somebody else that can. Sod your 5, 10, 20, 30 years plus of loyal support. Enough is enough. We become, and to quote Ivan Gazidis, we will become less reliant on fans to bring in revenue. Now is the time to prove it. Succeed or fail, it's time to take action and make a stand. Whether it's 10 of us or 1,000 of us, we'll go out on a shield. Whether we win or lose, we can say that we made a stand for our club, whilst there were others sided with apathy. Always Arsenal.
And your thoughts on that, Gav?
Well, I mean, I'll just basically reiterate what was said, really. I mean, I know it's only 3%, but when you've got the highest ticket prices in the country anyway, possibly in Europe, an extra 3% really, it shouldn't be the case. There's been a hell of a lot of home cup games this year, which has taken, the club's actual receipts of money through the roof. And I just don't understand it really. There's absolutely no need to do it. Now, we've got the Nike monkey off of our back with regards to actually getting bugger all money off of them, and, the Puma deal's coming in, which is, a fairly decent, market rate deal. The TV money's going up by £30 million next year as well. Why are they putting 3% on ticket prices just to raise what is going to be just under £3 million a year? I don't understand it. And I know there's a certain amount with regards to looking at the club as a club or as a business. And as a business, if you can, if supply is, vastly under demand, then you can put your prices up. And that's what they're basically doing, supply and demand tactics. And it's not right. Do you know what I mean? I feel sorry for people that do get priced out. And there is a hell of a lot of apathy about it. But the apathy is coming from people that can afford to go. There's already a lot of people that have been going Arsenal over the years, that can no longer actually afford to go, and by putting the prices up, it's just going to make it worse. But, anybody listening to this and, thinking that either the protest is bollocks or I'm talking at my arse, just wait until the day comes that you're priced out. Then will you do something? And if you wait till that day, you might wait too late. So I'll just leave you with them thoughts.
Mm-hmm. FK, we've not heard much from you tonight, so would you share your thoughts on this with us, please?
I think Gav has summed it up absolutely spot on. It's not, listeners will know, you guys will know that I don't often agree with Gav, but this is something that I completely agree with him on. I need to start by saying one thing. I mean, expensive ticket prices is a problem that's not exclusive to Arsenal Football Club. First and foremost, it's an English football problem. You go to most clubs around the Premier League, they're going to charge you a fortune. There are clubs in the Championship and in League One where you'd pay almost £25-30 on a match day to go and watch a home game. Now that in itself is utterly ridiculous. I've got to say that I agree completely with Gav about it's never a problem for people until it actually affects you. And just because you're not currently affected by the price rise, whether it be 1%, whether it be 30%, whether it be, monetary terms, whether that's £10 or £100, only when it affects you, you're going to start bothering. I think Gav makes a very valid point that actually don't wait till it's too late. The whole idea of season ticket prices going up, I mean, I've got the cheapest season ticket at Arsenal, and that works out to me on a game-by-game basis cheaper than actually the same equivalent at Spurs and Liverpool. Don't know if many people know that. So, from a price point of view, yes, we've got some very, very expensive seats and season tickets, but we've also got some not so expensive ones, and I suppose I'm on one of the cheaper ones, so that it means a lot to me. With regards to the protest, I think I'm all for. I mean, I'm not going to protest. I'll say that now, even though I agree in theory with what they're trying to achieve. The reason why I'm not protesting is not because I'm apathetic towards it. It's just because that's just not the sort of thing that I've ever been involved in, and it's just something that I just choose not to do. But I think the protest.
Gross and bollocks.
He's just too nice.
No, it's not that. It's just not that. It's just I think protests sometimes get out of hand, and recently protests. I mean, I would support a protest if it was done tastefully, and unfortunately, Gav, you know what some Arsenal fans are like. They take any opportunity to protest about anything.
This will be tasteful.
Well,
it will be tasteful.
It takes one idiot to have one bed sheet with "fuck off Wenger" on it, and it makes all Arsenal fans look utterly stupid. And I just think, but like I said, I mean, with regards to ticket prices, the £2.8 million that Arsenal are going to get, given all the new TV money, given all the new sponsorship money, given the fact that we've got over £100 million in the bank, and given the fact that Gazidis has said that we'll be on par with Bayern Munich, generating over £200 million a year, I do think it's a bit of a kick in the teeth, and it's purely opportunistic. The board have seen this as a chance to say, right, look, fans are going to buy regardless. Let's just up it a little bit, test the market. And the reality is, Gav, some people are priced out already. I might be priced out one day, but there will always be someone who's going to buy my ticket. And the club, unfortunately, it seems as if they don't kind of care about that, and they don't want to reward loyal, long-standing season ticket holders and customers. And let's not forget, it's not just about the individual. Sorry, Gav, it's not just about the individual. I'm, as a 33-year-old man who has no kids, no partner to take on match day. Well, no kids that I know of. One day I will be wanting to take a kid, take hopefully, God willing, a child to a game or my partner to a game, and you start adding it up. The cost for 2-3 people, it's that's a weekend away. It's ridiculous. And then on top of that, the fans have to pay for travel and Sky subscription and all the merchandise and memorabilia, food. It's just a hugely expensive sport, and without, like the BSM say, I mean, I'm not a member of the BSM or anything, but football without the fans is absolutely nothing. And the club, they should make a stand. They should lead this. They should say, look, we're not going to penalise our fans. We're big enough and wealthy enough as we are.
Then, like I say, FK, I mean, my issue, right, and like I say, don't get this wrong. I mean, I'm glad that you've agreed with all of this. But the fact that you agree with the fact that the 3% is wrong, and then you're saying that you're not going to actually turn up, I mean, you're one of the ones that that are coming under the term of the apathy with regards to this. I mean, you're the people that you're saying this is wrong, they shouldn't be increasing prices. What are you going to do about it? Oh, I'm going to do nothing. I don't understand that, mate.
No, you make a fair point, and actually, upon reflection, I mean, we were speaking before recording about me just coming to see you at the roundabout beforehand, and I'm going to be there anyway. Upon reflection, I mean, as long as if I get there and I see that it's being done in a tasteful way, I don't want my. You
don't want to turn up and it turns out to be a Wenger out display or whatever.
Well, yeah, and there's also,
Gav,
Gav, no need for abuse. I mean, you hear some of the language that goes towards, some of our board members, our chief exec, even Wenger. And it's like I said, if it's done tastefully, I'm all for it. My worry though is that, and knowing the last 2 or 3 protests that have been done, it all becomes very, very.
I'll tell you what,
it becomes a bit foul.
No, I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. I'll meet you by the roundabout. Yeah, you stand with me. The minute it gets distasteful, right? You walk away, and I'll walk away with you. How about that?
Deal.
Is that a deal?
Yeah, see you there.
After 5 minutes, when Gav gets his Wenger out bedsheet
done in his own turd.
I'll be wearing my Wenger in t-shirt. Yeah, it's all good.
No, but I said to pick up on something that I did obviously try and rudely interrupt you earlier. I do apologise for that. When you said about the club sort of not wanting to reward long-standing, members of Arsenal and long-standing season ticket holders. And, a very good example of that has happened this week when it's actually come down to the FA Cup final tickets, where you've got people that have been I heard of one fella, his brother has been a season ticket holder over the Arsenal since 1979. He's getting on a little bit, right? The fella can't do away games. And like I say, but he still obviously makes his way down to every single home game. And he didn't get a cup final ticket.
That's a different argument altogether, though.
I know it's a different argument, and obviously, I mean, a lot of people have said really what they should do is when they calculate the credits towards the FA Cup final tickets, is give people 1 credit for every year they've had a season ticket, because there's obviously people that have had a season ticket for 1 year that are going to get a cup final ticket, and this old boy who's been going 30, 40 years over the Arsenal, he hasn't got a ticket. So, like I say, it's the same thing as the fact that the club should be rewarding long-term supporters. And the way to reward long-term supporters is, A, to make cup final tickets available, when we do make a cup final, and B, to sort of, financially reward them, financially reward loyalty. And with this 3% increase, they're doing the exact reverse. They're saying, look, we don't care if you can't afford to go to the Arsenal, because we've got 20,000 people on our waiting list. And it's all bollocks. And like I say, I'm glad I've turned you around. I'm glad you're going to come and join me on Sunday. Like I say, I hope other people who are reading this who are a bit apathetic about it, just think to yourself, if your season ticket wasn't 900 quid, if your season ticket was 1,800 quid, after you going over the Arsenal for 20, 30 years, would you go? People should sort of look at themselves and think, how much of an increase in tickets would they actually put up with? And
You're spot on, and that's exactly what I was saying earlier. It's only a big deal when it affects you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, and that's the thing that really sort of bothers me over all of this, is the fact that there's a hell of a lot of people out there, I won't mention any names, but I've had a bit of a ding-dong with him on Twitter the last couple of days, right, who, in theory, think that there shouldn't be an increase, and, the slack should be taken up by the increased marketing deals. But when it comes down to it, and when it comes down to just, literally standing there, singing a few songs, showing your face to say, I don't agree with this, outside the ground, so it doesn't support the players, doesn't support the team, they just don't want to turn up. I can't get my head around it. I really, really can't get my head around it.
John, over to you next. Do you think the club actually takes note of the protest that goes on? Because as a club, we have had rather a large amount of protests go on the last couple of years.
No, they don't. That doesn't mean that protests shouldn't happen. I think it's a situation where, being, more of a outside looking in, obviously not being able to go to every match or, on a consistent basis or anything like that. The people that are the most loyal don't always get the most credit. The people that are the most loyal don't always get the chance to get the tickets that are available. I think it's a situation that it's not just prevalent to our club, though. I think it's a situation that's prevalent to sport in general. Clubs would rather have a more, for lack of a better word, affluent fan that can pay whatever they ask than a loyal fan. For them, there's, like FK said earlier, there's always going to be somebody to buy your ticket. You don't want to? Fine. We'll go on to the next one. And I think that's a horrible way to approach, individual fans and of, a product, more or less, because that's how I talk about it in those terms because that's how they're approaching it. Arsenal themselves take themselves as a product at this point. What my contention is with this whole situation is this protest going to make a difference at this point in stage? And I don't think so. I think it might deride from the good feeling that we have at the moment, which is we're going to, if we do what we need to, win a cup for the first time in fucking 9 years. And that should be the focus right now. You want to protest? That's fine. Do it at a more, apropos time, or do it in a manner that doesn't deride from the actual message. Once you start, slinging out insults and it, diminishes the message you want to get across, I think you lose the moral ground that you have.
Gav, would you like to respond to that?
Yeah, firstly, I respect everything that John said, of course, but I feel that a protest outside the ground, that's organised is more beneficial than, just letting it go, because the last thing you want to happen is to any sort of ill feelings be brought to inside the ground. So obviously anybody that's going on this, obviously please, leave your thoughts and your feelings with regards to, the ownership of the club outside, then inside, back the team. Now, we've only got to go back sort of 20 odd years when we had a team full of sort of London boys, and a team full of English lads. And the main reason that after every away game that they come over to the fans and gave the fans a round of applause and clapped was because they knew how much it cost people to get up and back. Now, the problem is these days is we've got a few, young 20-year-old multi-millionaires who don't actually know the value of money. Do you know what I mean? You've got to think, when Tony Adams was captain of Arsenal, he was driving around in much the same as a car anybody else that was doing pretty well for themselves at that age. Not driving around in 17 or 18-year-olds at Arsenal are now in, 200 grand motors. So like I say, they respected a pound note. Now, I would hope that any players, that get wind of any sort of demonstration against how much fans paid to get into the ground should actually take that as a motivation, to play their fucking bollocks off for them. So, like I say, I mean, I see it as a complete reverse. I would really, really hope that players would look at anything like this that's being done, and fans upset about how much they're paying to get into the ground.
Listen, I don't. At the end of the day, I don't disagree with your main issue. I completely agree. I think a 3% hike, in this day and age, when you're looking at revenues going up, is ludicrous. I think it's a bit of pushing the envelope to unnecessary heights. But my concern is that while 90%, 95% of the protests will be on point with a correct, agenda, you always have the 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 idiots that will ruin it for the lot.
Yep.
And it's a situation where people can't help themselves. Idiots will be idiots, and it just undermines the whole message in my view, or has the potential to do so. And we've seen with a couple of protests this year where it has happened. In a perfect world, it would happen the way you want it to, which is you protest outside, you get your message across, you go inside, and you support the club. But in reality, you'll have, that section where they'll be pissed and, doing their thing.
It's an early kickoff, though. Do you know what I mean? It's an early
True.
kickoff, so I
True.
don't think there's going to be a lot of people
True.
pissed. And the last major demonstration or walk, which was done by the BSM, unfortunately, the 6% who were having a laugh, did reverberate inside the ground. So like I say, it was always but like I say, that was an end of season dead rubber. Didn't really matter what happened to the result game anyway. But like I say, I agree completely with you. I mean, the idea behind this is not, I'm informed, to upset or to put off the players. I mean, God's sake, we've got St. Totteringhams Day out of the way. We want to finish as high as high in the league as we can. And, even though fourth place, is nowhere near a trophy.
To give you an idea,
it's still a good thing to do. But like I say, I really don't think that there should be a separation. And a lot of people, like I speak to and I read on Twitter, not so many on the Facebook page, but a lot of people that I read on Twitter, they can't really seem to separate the fact between supporting your club and wanting your club to do well and being pissed off with the club because the prices are too high. They can't seem to separate the fact that if you didn't care, you wouldn't moan about it. And, I don't, like I say, them people are, they can live in their rose-tinted glasses world and, never have a bad word to say about Arsenal. But I'll tell you one thing, the day that they get priced out, they'll start fucking moaning.
Very true. Danny, there's another protest going on, isn't there? I'm sure you've done a podcast as well, haven't you? Is it Mo Hader?
Yeah, Mo, who's at Arsenal MOH8. He has, I've been informed by a few people, set up one called Arsenal Action, which is at You Spend, We Spend. And just a few things from tweets and about their site. It says, this is not a protest. This is a constructive communication to encourage the club to use our resources for on-the-pitch success. The 90 minutes are sacred. And then what they've got is a big... Where is it? There it is. I've got so many windows open here to make sure I get the right one. They've got a big poster and it's got a red Puma. And across the top of it says, if you don't spend, underneath that, we won't spend. And then it's got the you spend, we spend, then hashtag you get what you pay for. And a few things that they were, I've got another window open with some of their comments. It says, after 4 home FA Cup ties, the 3% could have been deferred to help fans. With a 3% rise and 100 million in the bank, fans are at least owed fair use of these resources that the club has. With 100 million plus in the bank and no trophies in 9 years, we must ask, where I must ask, are we striking the right balance? I'm reading tweets here. And then someone else has gone into a little bit more detail on goonersworld.co.uk, and they put up Mo from Arsenal Fan TV has come up with an interesting idea to get the fans' point across to Arsenal and Puma about the annoyance and lack of spending our stockpiled bundles of cash. He makes clear in the video that it's not a protest and that the 90 minutes are sacred, and the cards should only be displayed before the game and at half-time if need be. He also says, do not display them during the lap of honour after the game. On our last home game of the season, he wants Gooners to display these in the stadium and send them to Arsenal and Puma on Twitter and Facebook, etc. So that's just like another one. There's a video on YouTube. If you go to Mo's account, then that will link you to this Arsenal Action one. Then they've got a 7-minute YouTube video where he's talking about it a little bit more with Robbie.
But And this is the cynical's view of it, of course. Do you not think that all of our fans are moaning? Do you not think we'd be better getting together and airing our views rather than everybody doing their own thing and making us look maybe a little bit silly because the communication between fans is so poor? Gav, over to you with that one.
Right. Basically, there's been a long history over Arsenal of fans not communicating and not getting on with each other. I'm reliably informed that the last game of the season in the 70s would result in the clock end en masse walking round and steaming into the North Bank for a fight. So, like I say, there's been plenty of occasions, I'm sure we've all seen it in pubs and in grounds, of Arsenal supporters fighting with each other, which is sad. And like I say, I've lost count of the amount of times I've heard the words, come on lads, we're all Arsenal. But it happens. When you've got 60,000 people going to the games, and when you've got, if you include red members and silver members, the best part of 70, 80,000 people, you're not going to get everybody to agree. I think all power to anybody who's trying to arrange anything, and they should be given support and respect for what they do. And if you like what they're planning, then go along and join in. If you don't, then you don't. Do you know what I mean? But it's just the way it is. You can't, like I say, you can't please everybody. And like I say, with the amount of season ticket holders, silver members, gold members, purple members, the club level, etc., you're not going to please everybody. Do you know what I mean? So, it's a shame. And like I say, you look at other football clubs and they haven't got as many supporters clubs and supporters associations that we have as well. I mean, by the time you take in, the BSM, ASA, AST, Red Action, what the Arsenal Anonymous boys are doing, what Mo's trying to do, and the various blogs, there's a lot of different people, and my issue really is the ones that have A, got an agenda, and B, the ones that ain't really got the bollocks to stand up and say, right, okay, this is wrong, let's go for it. Do you know what I mean? But it's how it is. There's a lot of different factions, and and nothing's changed. I mean, different estates from Islington used to fight with different estates. Different schools used to fight with different schools, and sometimes that used to spill into Arsenal, and it's always been like that. It's just a problem that now we're looking at. It's not just a local issue, it's not just a London issue, it's now like a worldwide issue. I mean, you find yourself on Twitter arguing about ticket prices with somebody from, who sort of like lives 2,000-3,000 miles away, and they can't understand why you'd have a bad word to say about the club, but then they're not paying the ticket prices.
I think you got to think of how the club will look at this. Gazidis and co, he'll probably look at this and go divide and conquer. The more divisions they are, the less power they've got, unfortunately.
Yeah, of course. And like I say, and the thing which I agree with what the Arsenal Anonymous boys have sort of come out with, and what the BSM people did in the past. It's not really the fact of how many people turn up. It's the fact that the only way to actually get any change or to get any sort of credit or any joy out of Arsenal, really, unfortunately, is to try and embarrass them into it. And it's a shame because you don't want to embarrass something that you love. But like I say, that it's just how it just seems it's the only way because I do agree with the people that say you can even if there's 3,000 of you outside the director's box, they're not going to sort of change, and then they're not going to sort of scrap this 3%. And I agree, but at least sort of we've made a point. At least we've kind of made them look a bit stupid in what they're doing, and hopefully, if it doesn't make them change this year, maybe it'll stop them, putting on 5 or 6% on top of the ticket prices next season.
But they obviously feel threatened from it, Gav, because I remember when Raj came on the show and they were talking about the protest the BSM did, and they carried it very well. And they were talking about John Cross and how it was reported in the newspapers and the numbers that were given. And Raj informed us that there were probably more in the region of about 2,000 people there, and the club actually quoted that there was only, say, 900, 1,000 there. So, I mean, obviously they feel threatened when the fans do this, don't they?
Well, the thing is like I say, the top person at Arsenal at the moment and the person that's dealing with things is Ivan Gazidis, and he's a media man, and he knows how to run the media. So, it's very, very odds on that the time that the protest is due to take place on Sunday, he'll try and call in as many media into him for an exclusive as possible to get them out of the way. And then they'll feed them, it's 20 people disenfranchised, blah, blah, blah. But like I say, that's the thing. The only way really is to sort of beat them at their own game. And like I say, even if you're going to lose the fight, you've got to go in and fight in the first place.
And FK, I know you've got something to say on this.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we've talked about the ticket price protest enough, and I think actually it's a good idea. So anyone listening, anyone who wants to get down there and just raise their concern about the price rise, you should absolutely join us. The other protest, the you spend, we spend protest. I mean, I know Mo's, he's stuck to his laurels by trying to convince everybody that it's not a protest. But however you disguise it, the moment you have a slogan that is, if you spend, we spend, kind of, there's an underlying threat there that if you don't spend, we won't. So it is a protest, and I'm actually surprised by Mo because I follow him, we follow each other, and I watch some of his videos on Arsenal Fan TV, and he seems like quite a smart lad, but I question the need for it at this time, and the rationale for them having that was that we seem to have not made progress, and yes, we've got £100 million in the bank, and I completely share that frustration. As a football fan, there is nothing worse than seeing your team collapse when you've got so much money and spending power just sitting there unused. And as a football fan, all you want your club to do is to make sure that they give it their best shot with all the resources they have, and then at the end of the day, you can sit back and say, look, we tried our best, we didn't do anything stupid, and we maintained the effective financial stewardship of the club. I get that. I really appreciate that. But I just think, given the fact that we broke our transfer record, given the fact that we were probably in the title race for longer than recent seasons, and I know we've fallen away, but we've talked about the injuries at the start. But given the fact we're on the cusp of an FA Cup, I just think the timing's so inappropriate. And how is that going to make the players feel when you've got 300, 400 fans, however many it is, could be thousands of fans holding up a bit of paper. Mo described it to me as a negotiation. Well, that's not the way negotiation works. You're not negotiating with anybody. You're just sticking up a bit of paper, having a bit of a chant, and it makes most fans look daft and greedy, particularly at this time of the season. And sometimes I keep saying on Twitter that you guys should really follow non-Arsenal fans. It puts so much into perspective. When you surround yourself with just Arsenal, you can almost become so caught up in everything that is your club, and you forget perspective. And I'm just surprised. I just don't think there's any need for it at this time of the season, and the transfer window hasn't even started. I mean, what's not to say that we go out there in the summer and we go out and buy a couple more Ozils, and then what, are they going to take the credit for it because they stuck up a bit of paper? And do you think the club's really going to listen? I mean, I can't see how they understand the club's policies or objectives better than Wenger. The club want to win. Wenger wants to win. Kroenke will make much more money if we won. It's such an obvious thing. People that don't understand that, it just drives me mad. So, I completely share his frustration. I really want the club to spend money, but I just think that the protest, and as pure as Mo's intentions are, two things. He should have gone to one. I think the protest should have been done in conjunction with the other supporters clubs. The BSM have been very vocal about spending and ticket prices, and Red Action, AST have been very similar about the club's finances. Why go on a bit of a personal crusade? And I don't know. I just question the timeliness and the appropriateness of it. So that's just my opinion.
It's power to the people, though, mate. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a bloody socialist for in anyone's minds, but it's like I say, if people want to do things and want to engage other people to join in, then they should do it. And the more groups there are of people that are pushing in the right direction, then perhaps more the message will go across. But like I say, when you said that you're questioning the timing, it's the last home game of the season, so it is the last chance, and it is the last
before
time.
a cup final, Gav. They could go to the offices and stand outside the offices in post-season and sing the songs they want.
I agree with that, but like I say, as I said before, the last game of the season has always been the time to do something like this. It's always been the time. If the season hasn't gone completely well and you're not happy with the club's direction or what's planned for next year, the last game of the season is basically your last chance to do it.
All right, but that's
because like I say, trust me on this one, and like I say, if it's near on impossible, right, to get a number of Arsenal supporters anywhere near Arsenal Football Club on a day that there ain't, on a non-match day, it's near on impossible. Do you know what I mean? No matter what you're doing no matter what you're putting on, it's very, very hard to do that. But like I say, I question, if you're questioning the timing of these protests, I'm going to question the timing of when the club announced they're increasing the ticket prices, which was when we was top of the league just before the January transfer window opened. So like I say, the club were very, very clever about doing that. Obviously they're a multi-million pound business, so they've got to plan their figures in advance. But for them to for them to, so they would have known about this 3% increase, probably last summer.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
So like I say, you can't, like I say, the club can't have it both ways, mate. That's the thing.
No, I'm not.
You can't turn around and say, bloody hell, I'm excited about this cup final more than, as much as anybody else. Do you know what I mean? I'm gutted the fact that my missus has got a ticket and I haven't. But I'm very, very happy the fact that, she's going to get to go Wembley for the second time, and hopefully she's, touch wood, she's going to see the Arsenal, lift the FA Cup, for the 11th time, isn't it? Mm. But it's, you can, like I say, that it's the timing. Maybe the timing's a little bit wrong here because, obviously you want to encourage the players, which is why the protests, which Arsenal Anonymous are planning should, is solely for outside the ground. But it's the timing that the club have actually released the fact that they're putting up the prices. They were very, very sneaky and devious with doing that. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
It's like you can't. That's like they can't have it, and you can't have it both ways, really. I mean, there's probably been. I can't say there's been wrong on both sides because I can only see the wrong in the fact of increasing the ticket prices.
I appreciate that, but put it this way, I believe the club are going to invest in the summer. I think they know because of the
money's there, isn't it?
No, because of the backlash that we had, Gav, including, and it's even from Wenger, the Arsene knows best brigade. We were all disappointed that we kind of collapsed, and the club know they have to spend. Arsene knows he has to spend, and we're only playing catch up to the big boys. And if we win a cup for the first time, and we broke our transfer record with Ozil for the first time. I just think any protest like that saying that spend some money and you don't spend, we don't spend, we just embarrass ourselves.
I mean that's that's
the reality.
I mean, like I say, I completely understand with what Mo's saying. I mean, it's a backdoor way of saying and trying to sort of warn sponsors. I mean, John will probably know more about this and probably give you exact details more than myself, but there's been instances in Spain and in Italy where, basically the whole of the supporters either boycotted a product or boycotted the whole game, due to an increase. Like I say, there was a point where I think John, correct me, is there an Italian club that's owned by one of the fellas that does the milk in Italy?
Parmalat.
Parma.
Yeah. And like I say, he put the milk prices up, right? The next home game, no fucker turned up. So what happened was he put the milk prices down. Now, what Mo's trying to say here is to Puma, you're spending, £30 million a year towards Arsenal. What we're trying to say is, make sure the clubs spend the money, otherwise we're not going to buy your shirts.
Do you not think Puma are putting pressure on Arsenal?
Well, I mean...
Do you not think Wenger wants to win things? I mean, do you not think the club want to make more money?
I'll be honest with you. If we was talking in January, do I think Wenger wants to win things? I would say, well, if he does, he'll go out and buy us another striker. If he does want to win things, he wouldn't have £100 million sitting in the bank unspent. So, yeah, no, I don't think they're doing their complete best. Supporters are doing their complete best by paying the top prices in the country. If the club was doing their complete best, there wouldn't be this money sitting in there, which they'll probably have to pay tax on if they don't spend it, which again is a waste of money. So like I say, I just don't, like I say, I personally don't think, look, you can't really play that card. You can't play, don't you think they want to win something? If they do want to win something, then, we'd have something better than fucking Sonogo to come on the pitch. Do you know what I mean?
But do we not think that Puma would have already put things in the deal to say that Arsenal had to go out and buy a certain calibre of player, or there had to be, say, one marquee signing per summer? And they
would have asked for. They obviously would have asked for some sort of assurances on the direction of the football club, especially when they're pumping in that kind of money.
Steve would be the perfect man to ask, wouldn't he?
Well, of course. I mean, Steve knows all about that sort of complex negotiations, etc. And obviously, you've got to hope that a few of the top class players that are under Puma's wing may find their way sort of coming to us. And maybe Puma may have some sort of influence with regards to that. But once the deal's signed, that's that. I mean, what are Puma going to do now if Arsenal decide in the summer not to spend any money whatsoever and sell Ozil, Koscielny, and Ramsey? Puma wouldn't be able to pull the money out.
But if they've broken the terms of a contract, if there are stipulations on a contract,
I would be very, 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 very shocked if anything like that was involved in any contract apart from a gentleman's agreement on the direction of the club. But I could be wrong. But like I say, I don't think that, I think that's more of sort of like, during the negotiations and the sit down and the chat. I don't actually think that Puma or Arsenal are going to put anything in there with regards to it. I mean, if anything, Puma should really have a deal with Arsenal to say, look, okay, if you win something, we'll give you more money. That's the kind of deal that they should have been looking into, really.
But I knew that there were news stories kicking about that, say, in the pursuit of a player like Mario Balotelli or, for instance, FK, don't get a stiffy, Cesc Fabregas, players who were signed to the Puma brand, so to speak, that Puma would have a certain amount of clout to bring these big names in. John, I know you probably know a little bit more about this because, deals like this come more out in the open in Spain. Have you got anything you would like to add?
Well, I'm looking at this, protest more from an angle of, revenue. I think it's inappropriate to put a Puma on your logo on as far as the protest is concerned. If you look at the difference between what Puma is paying us to what Nike was, we were making £9 million a year, and now we're making 30. And so the first thing you do is before the brand is on board is you put a Puma as part of your protest. I think that's, nonsense. You have to be a little bit daft to go there to start with. Secondly, if you want to look at, prior to this year, the main complaint from a lot of people why we were behind the times was because, the commercial revenue just wasn't up to par with the top teams. And that continues to be so. I mean, if you look at the Deloitte report from last year, Schalke made 20 million more per year than we did on commercial revenue. And all the big clubs that were above us, PSG made 254 million, Real Madrid 211 million, Bayern made 237 million. So, I mean, you're talking 3 times, 4 times what our revenue was. So I think it's a little bit ridiculous to go ahead and once we get one of the major hurdles out of the way, which is a shirt sponsor with an adequate pay, to make them the center of your logo for a protest. You're failing right there off the bat. As far as, the protest itself is concerned, I think it's piggybacking on a lot of the issues that a lot of other people have already covered. So I think it's a moot point. And, couple that with what we've talked about before as far as the timing. We can all agree or disagree. It doesn't really matter. It's going to happen. But I just hope it happens in a classy way. I take this "you spend, we spend" as a bunch of bollocks, and the people that thought about it should have thought about it a little bit more before implementing the things the way they did. And that's all I got to say about that.
So then we'll wrap this up now, and I guess what we're saying at the end of this segment is, there'll be things that you agree with and things you disagree with. When you hear a group or an organisation's point of view, read through it thoroughly. If you agree with it, then go along and take part. If you don't, it doesn't mean that you can slag them off.
Fuck yourself.
It doesn't mean you can slag them off, because at the end of the day, if someone's out there prepared to make a stand against a club at the end of the day that we all love, then surely that can't be a bad thing.
If anybody wants to sort of slag off somebody who's looking after their rights and the amount of money that they pay to go and watch the Arsenal, then have a word with yourself.
But Gav, I don't think...
Have a fucking word with yourself.
On the last note on that, just to respond to what you just said, I don't think that people have a problem with somebody protesting. I don't think people have a problem with people trying to make themselves heard. I think the issue is that people need to handle it in a more intelligent manner and do it in a more proper way. And I think a lot of these things are, flying by the, a lot of these situations are flying by the seat of their pants and kind of just going with what they think is most effective instead of going with, something that's a little bit less shock value and more, organized.
I completely agree with John. And I mean, I've been having this conversation with people for about 4 or 5 years. I mean, I put up a thing on the Facebook page the other day and said, look, we've got 3 supporters clubs that sit down and talk to the club. We've had marches where there's been thousands of people on the marches, and nothing has actually made a difference in the club's attitude to supply and demand pricing, which is what they do. So I actually asked the question, what actually would make a difference? And the general feeling you get back is there's nothing we can do. And so where do you actually go from there? Because I mean, there's so many people out there that have been priced out, and obviously are fearing that they will be priced out in the next few years. And all these ideas that come up, some of them are good, some of them bad, and the thoughts are, that nothing's going to work no matter what we do. So, is the point that if nothing that's been done so far didn't work, should we just give up?
No.
Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, where do you go from there?
Absolutely. I completely understand, but do it in an intellectual way, not by pissing off the first real sponsor that's stepping up to the plate, paying us for what we're worth, and putting them as the logo of your protest.
Completely agree.
And I mean, what the fuck are you accomplishing by pissing off Puma before Puma shirt has even been made available to the fucking public?
Oddly enough, I bought a new baseball cap this week, and I went into the shop. Baseball cap, yeah. No, I bought a new baseball cap this week, and I walked into the shop, and I'm sitting down and looking at them, and there's a Nike one, and there's a Puma one, and they're next to each other, and I thought, no, fuck it, I'll get the Puma one. So I'm I'm probably guilty of giving Puma money already, but it's where you go. Like I say, I mean, I'm obviously of the thing that I don't think that anything that anybody ever does is ever going to work, because, like I say, people like the AST and Asia sit down and talk to the club, and prices have gone up. People like the BSM have put, a brilliant billboard up, got thousands of people on the street, and prices have gone up. I think whatever we do, nothing's going to change the fact that the 3% is going to be added on to everybody's tickets next year. But if you don't show them, look, you're upset about it, then it's only going to make things worse in the future. So, like I say, the 3% this year could quite easily turn into 5-6% next year, and then 5 or 6% the year after. And before we know it, you're going to be looking at this, you're going to be looking at the cheapest season ticket being 1,500-1,600 quid. You're going to be looking at the silver and red members paying £100 each for a Category A game. So, something's got to be done, even if it isn't completely effective now. Maybe maybe it'll make them think before they do it again, because it is unjustified, and more people should actually tell them that it's unjustified.
Burn the place down, I say. Fuck them.
We'll put a pen round that for lambing season then, and we'll move on to some Twitter questions with you, Danny.
Oh, was that a Gimliism?
Did you see what I did there?
That's genius.
I must thank John for that one, though. Thank you, John.
Also, talking about the season ticket thing, I don't know if people know, but when I was at Highbury for 19 seasons, my season ticket and my person who pushed me was free. So we've gone from paying £0 for 19 seasons to my first season there paying 700 quid. And when I'm going to start going again next season, I've not had a season ticket since 07-08. It's going to cost me about 1,200-1,300 quid. I mean, I'll pay it. I don't care. I'm rich. But that's one hell of a jump to go from nothing to 700 quid. How do you think we feel? And I've got to pay for tyres every 2 years, whether I want them or not.
But the thing is, though, Danny, that's all right. You going, oh yeah, I'm rich and I can do this, I can do that. But there are people like i.e. myself. I live a long way away from the ground. You got to take the missus, you pay for food, you pay for, even just to find
Cheddars don't buy themselves, sweetheart.
But to go there and park, say I use something called parkatmyhouse.com, where you can basically borrow someone's driveway for the day. That's 25 quid
Blue
on
badge,
its own.
Park where the fuck I want.
I park in, no, don't get me wrong. When I'm at the supermarket, I park in disabled anyway, because I don't care.
Oh.
But
if me and Big Bob catch you, you'll have to find someone to put your car the right way up.
You'd have to fucking catch me
to
first.
put things into perspective, though, like from 92 until 2001 or 2002, I paid $49.99 a week to watch Arsenal matches. And imagine that compared to what people were paying at the ground. Now that pales in comparison to what some of the tickets are. So it's gone completely from, the forum fans being completely the ones that were paying everything, to now it's the local fans that are toting the majority of the bill.
Yeah. I mean, John, before I moved out and away, on the morning of a match, I'd walk through the estate that I was on in North One, in Hoxton. And you'd have the concrete playground areas, you know what I mean, with the goals and the baseball courts and all that. And you'd see 20 kids there kicking a ball, half of them in Arsenal shirts. And I was off to the game, and they weren't going to the game. Do you know what I mean? They'd say, oh, you going to the game, mate? Yeah. I mean, I hope they play well and blah, 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 and all that. And you just know that the local kids couldn't afford to go.
Now they just mug you and leave you for dead.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, there was that. They try and mug me when I was pissed coming home, but yeah, it's I'd rather take this onto another issue when we're talking about that, with the fact that the club really should, when it comes to the empty seats that there are some games and the people that don't bother turning up, there should be something that they do for local kids or local schools where they can sort of get them in to fill the seats and to create more atmosphere. But that's another story for another day, I think, gentlemen.
I heard on a podcast this week that some of the executive boxes, people use them for 2 or 3 games per season. Ridiculous. Yeah. If you're not there by half time, kids have them.
No, I mean, Tim Payton knows all the stats on that. He's the one to ask on that. But I mean, it's actually shocking the amount of tickets that are only actually used for Tottenham, Man United, Man City, and Chelsea every year.
But that's why this home credits idea is such a good idea.
Yeah, no, I think there should be a universal credit as opposed to a home credit. Like I say, I mean, there's probably silver members out there that have gone to every single home game, probably done 10, 15 away games, and they're not going to get a cup final ticket. And then you've got somebody who's only been, I mean, I don't, like I say, if we're going on to a debate about how FA Cup FA final tickets are handed out, everybody's sort of got an agenda, and it generally suits how they watch the Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? But I think really there should be, you should get a credit for every year you've got a season ticket, and then you should have a credit for every game that you've been to, both home or away, and do it that way. I mean, that's how someone like Chelsea does it.
Do you know what I would have done? I would have given 20,000 tickets to Nicholas Bentner, given him a mile head start on everybody, and said to the fans, right, Nicholas Bentner's in the centre of London, and he has an FA Cup final ticket, right? If you can get to him and find him, and mug him, for one, then you can have one. Only one per person, and hopefully someone can fucking chase him abroad. Just my thoughts on it. But, yeah, Danny, we've tried 3 times, so Twitter questions, please.
Right. The Daily Mail today had a headline, Bakary Sagna. Oh, he said Sagna there, didn't I?
No.
To hold talks with Manchester City over free transfer from Arsenal. That is a direct quote from the Daily Mail. So, our mate Epitaph said, regarding Sagna, he's the full, because they're trying to fit this in 140 letters, so I'm going to have to try and decipher it. Yes, he's the fullback, but does the same debate apply to him as to the goalkeeper situation for the final? And then also Mark, who is at RAGGIEROO80, says, even if it's not City, would you play Jenkinson in the final if Sagna is leaving? So I think that those two are just saying, if Sagna was said before the cup final, I'm leaving, should we still play him? I don't think we should play Sagna, because it's all about confidence for next season.
Personally, I think if anything's agreed that he's going to go before the cup final, fuck off.
Because it's only Hull.
Don't want him in the team.
Like I said, I could play against Hull and we'd still win. What do you think, John?
I mean, I think you have to play him, but I think, this everlasting loyalty with departing players after they leave and before they leave, and then the obligatory legends tag appears. Listen, players come and go. If he wants to go, let him fucking go.
But would you play him in the final if he says
I would.
before?
I would. Listen, my feelings about Jenkinson being ready. I would play Sagna in the final. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Listen, it's not even a debate. You pay your best team in the FA Cup final, which is why we had the Szczesny Fabianski question at the start. Sagna is our best right back by a country mile. And, I suppose with Sagna, there's a little bit of sentiment. There's been chances for him to leave when all of our best players walked out year on year on year. And now he's got to a stage where, he's 31. He's given us, 7-8 years service. He wants to go. There's other clubs willing to pay him stupid money. Let him go. But he's
his last contract. He's 31. It's his last contract. It's 31. So I don't begrudge him wanting to leave and cash in on his last contract.
Exactly.
But,
so good luck to him. And you never know. He might turn around and stay. But if it comes to FA Cup final day, you play Sagna. If Jenkinson was better, if he was a more reliable right back, maybe there's a case for it. But Sagna is just a country mile ahead of Jenko. And I love Jenko, so you play Sagna all day long.
Are you on the fence on this one, Gav?
No, I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, it's a right back, isn't it? It's not, hopefully it's Hull, so, we shouldn't be doing a hell of a lot of defending anyway.
So your attitude of fuck them, they're only goalkeepers, fuck them, they're only right backs. At what point going forward in the team do you think, now, not just fuck them, they're strikers?
No, I mean, that's how, when we're playing, one of the teams above us, or a couple of teams that are below us in the league, then you need a decent right back, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference whether we played Sagna or Jenks anyway. But I think, to twist it around the other way, I think that he should show a certain amount of loyalty towards us. Because, he's had his injury problems. He's been paid while he's unfortunately been out injured as well. So I think he owes us as much as he owes them. But at the end of the day, as John said, this is going to be his last decent contract.
He goes on. He's only been on about 80 grand a week for 6 years.
I mean,
bless him. How's he cope?
The multi-millionaire has only got 3 years left of his career to the fact that he can live comfortably for the rest of his life without working or his kids ever working ever again.
There is a huge difference though between 100K a week and 200K a week.
Yeah, about 100K a week.
Oh, that countdown.
Sorry, John. I love you, man.
Do you know what I do?
The only question about Sonya is, should he shoot more?
Oh, Jesus.
Go on, Gim.
What would you do?
Well, yeah, go on.
Personally, right?
There we go. This will be good.
Oh, God, here we go.
I would wait till we're 2 or 3-0 up, or, if it's a close game and we're only 1-0 up, I would take Koscielny off in the 8th-9th minute, put on Vermaelen, get Vermaelen to 2-foot him, and this is if Sanya's going to go, and send him to City crippled.
Excellent.
Right, that's why you're host. Right, moving on.
Right.
Who said host shouldn't offer opinions? Anyway, go on, Dan.
Yeah, so our friend my friend Simon Collins, who is at SR_Collings, says, who do we miss more, Ozil, Ramsey or Walcott? I shall ask Mr. Gimli first and see if we can get some sense out of him.
I would say probably Ramsey. I think Ramsey, overall, what he does to the team, he's a bit of a workhorse, isn't he? Out of those three, I'd say probably Ramsey, yeah.
Gav, would you say fuck them, they're only midfielders?
No, midfielders were important, Dan.
So who have we missed most then?
Who have we missed most in the middle?
Yeah, those three. Ramsey, yeah, can't go wrong with that. How about you, FK? What do you think?
Walcott, without any hesitation. I think Ozil's only missed about 25% of our games this year. Ramsey's missed about 4 months, but Walcott, I mean, he's the only one in our team with reliable pace. 20 goals, 23 assists or whatever it was last season. We're 7 points behind the league leaders, and I just think if Walcott was in the team, we'd probably have won the league this year, honestly. People say that, we would have won the league with Luis Suarez, but a fit Theo Walcott for 6 months would have been electrifying. And for me to miss Walcott, the day he got injured, I knew, deep down, I just had this feeling that was it for us this year in the league, because I just had this feeling that we wouldn't go out and get a top striker in January. You could argue about them being available or not, but Walcott was the big one for me. Massive miss.
Do you want to put any South American justice on this, John?
I agree completely with FK. Walcott's missed 75% of our games. Mesut only 25%. I think you put them on the pitch together for a significant amount of time, and I think that's us done for the league.
There you go. Are you lot writing anything important in that window? Because it's just, no, someone's having scampi for dinner.
No, that's me.
Good job I ignored it. This one from Jonathan Hausman, who is at JONNYHAUSM. Do you trust Arsene to do what he's never done before and sign the players we need to fully compete, not a last-minute Ozil? Oh, Jesus, that did sound good. Go on in, Gav.
No. Move on. Next question, please.
FK, what do you think?
Move on.
FK's going to be yes.
Is that question, Danny?
Hey?
Trust Wenger to sign players to what?
Just say no, FK.
To fully compete, not a last-minute Ozil.
No, I think he's going to this year. 100%. And look, he's won the league title and stuff before. He knows what it takes. We've been caught short. The injuries have killed us. And actually, just on the injuries, I know people keep saying it. The club have to make a choice, right? We're in a situation now where we either investigate the cause and rectify the cause of these injuries, or the club need to accept that they happen and strengthen adequately to make sure that when they do happen, as inevitable as they are, we're in a position where we're not crippled.
I think we've been quite lucky with injuries this year. Imagine if we. No, I'm being serious. Hear me out. I think we've been lucky. We've been lucky because all of the injuries have come in midfield where we've got the most players.
Fuck them, they're only midfielders.
Exactly, who needs them? If we had the number of injuries from the midfielders in defence, we would have been playing fucking 18-year-old untried fucking defenders. If we had had that many injuries up front, fucking Danny, you would have got a game.
Hey.
Let's be honest.
Do you know what I mean? So the only lucky thing about the injuries is they're all in an area where we've got a lot of players.
If we'd have had defenders missing, but Ozil, Ramsey, Wilshere, Walcott all fit, we'd be conceding 2 or 3 but scoring 4 or 5.
That's a good point. He's got you there.
No, I don't. Like I say,
I agree.
At one point we had 5 midfielders out injured. Yeah. Okay, take out the first 5 fucking defenders that we've got. We'd end up with Monreal at left back, fucking Pat Rice, fucking and Steve Bold in the middle, and fucking right back. Fuck
Dixon
me,
coming out of retirement.
and right back, John's favourite Jenkinson. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. And you think we'd only concede 3? Jesus.
I thought Pat Rice was a right back.
Right, next question.
He'd have to play in the middle for this scenario.
Okay, well, I'll move this on. I can't remember who I've asked.
Well,
I haven't asked.
I want to chime in.
Oh, there you go. What do you think, John?
2011, 2012, we signed Jenkinson, Nabry, Terrell, Bering, Olsen, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Joel Campbell, Mertesacker, Arteta, Eisfeld. Not a bad fucking year, if I say so.
Well, you got a point. Kim, would you? I know you haven't answered this. Do you care or not?
No, I don't. No, I think if he fell into a barrel of tits, he'd come out sucking his thumb, wouldn't he? I don't trust him. I don't trust him to spend the money.
We've got a few more questions because these are really good ones. Right, this one is someone who had the nerve not to be born with an English name, so it is. I'm going to fuck this up. Siddharth Hazarika. Konnichiwa, who is at Sid_HAZARIKA. We now have 73 points, the same number of points we had last season. At the same point, I had to edit this. The goal difference is worse off by 9 with the same league position. Is this progress? Go on, John.
If you want to go by that, when Sess left, Nasri left, we had more points. When Van Judas left, we had more points. This year, we might be in the same position, but we're in the FA Cup final. At some point, progress is progress. Everybody's been bitching about a trophy for 9 years. It's likely that we'll win one this year. Is that progress?
Well, who knows? That's the question. GC, have you got a one-syllable answer for this?
If we win the FA Cup, then that's progress.
And if we don't,
when we win the FA Cup, that'll be progress. I know. You can't. We're not going to talk about not winning the FA Cup. Do you know what I mean? We're going to win the FA Cup. Let's be fucking positive.
Yeah,
man.
Get on the Gooner love train.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Do you want to answer that one, FK?
Yeah, obvious progress. I mean, football evolves. You can't compare points tallies from this year to 5 years ago. But I think progress is measured not just on the pitch. I mean, we've got rid of all of our deadwood. We bought Ozil. We're in a cup final. We're going to buy this summer and hopefully push on. We were in the league title race for a much longer than I can remember in recent seasons. So yeah, massive progress. Players like Ramsey, Wilshere all coming on and pushing on. It's just honestly the start of something exciting.
128 days we were top of that league for. Apparently,
league table always lies until May. You know that.
Of
course it does.
Gimli, have you got any sheep noises you make to answer this?
No, to win the FA Cup is, of course, like FK said, it's obvious progress. But anyone that sits there and thinks 4th in the league is fucking acceptable needs a baseball bat in their face from our good friend Jason Davis.
Welsh Justice.
Also,
the wise Donkey Gooner, who is wow_Bantini, asked a very similar question, so didn't ask it twice. Austin Gooners says... Oh, God, I've cut out the app bit on there when I was editing it. Oh, for God, sorry about that. They're Gooners and they're in Austin. Should we keep the same...
That's the supporters club out there, isn't it?
Certainly is.
Yeah, I'll speak to him. Good lad.
Oh, hello. Should we keep the same starting 11 for the past 2 games or mix it up for the West Brom game? FK?
Play your strongest team for West Brom, secure 4th, rest everyone for Norwich and then smash the cup.
John?
What FK said.
Fair enough. Gav?
Fuck me. What FK said.
Little Gimli.
What FK said.
Oh, bollocks. I think once we've beat them, we've got 4th secured, and the last game of the season, I'd play the bloke who's cost us £1.5 million and has just warmed his arse on an IKEA bench.
So basically, Dan, you
mean
what FK said.
That's what I'm all round. I'd give everybody a game, all the youths, I'd let everybody play. That's what I did on Football Manager, and it worked.
I'd let Gav play. Fuck it.
Yeah, might as well.
Oh, jeez. Bring me on about the 93rd minute, mate. That'd do me.
Oh. Oh, I'll remember that. Well, we've got some more. We've got another question from Ahmet Benley, which is I'd like to ask, but I think he's asking about strikers. Why can't Wenger find them anymore? Well, that's a little bit long. We're running out of time. Calvin Masterson, who is at Calvin Masterson, says, what's more enjoyable in failure? I am John Terry slipping over and hitting the post in Moscow, or Stevie G falling on his face and choking the title? I think it's got to be, for me, it's Stevie Gerrard. FK?
John Terry crying is just magic.
Gimli?
Oh, who can't resist a bit of John Terry's tears?
John?
No, Gerard, especially after that fucking huddle. This does not slip. You cunt. It did slip.
GC, or is it just fuck them? They're only
fuck. I don't give a fuck about either of them. Both a bunch of cunts.
Sit on the fence.
We've got two more. We've got ending it with two funny questions from Daniel Owen, who is at INFERNIKUS. I'll try and pronounce that, and I'll come up with fuckahanage. Should Hallmark start making St Totteringham Days cards? As we all know, this has become a permanent thing. I think they fucking should. They'd sell a few. You could send them to all your Spurs mates.
I think She War should start making them.
There you go, Gav, for next year.
No, seriously, in all seriousness, if we finish above them next year, I'll speak to a few people and I'll get a big fucking t-shirt done, which will be cheaper than anybody else is selling any t-shirts for, and probably printed on the front and the back. This is not an advert at all.
He's got no shame, has he?
If
somebody wanted to actually go and buy some quality schmutter, where should they go, Gavin?
Oh, at She War on Twitter or facebook.com/SheWar.
Do you have a website?
SheWar.com. But it's like I say, I ain't put all that on there anyway. But like I say, no, seriously, if we end up finishing above Tottenham for 20 years running, fuck me, something should be done, whether it's me or anybody else. Do you know what I mean? Somebody should get something done just so that we can take the fucking piss out of them on a daily basis.
Hire a helicopter and just drop them over North London N17.
Did we have a competition winner for your shirt, Gav?
No, nobody got the right answer.
Didn't they?
No.
I knew the answer. Can I give the answer?
Question.
No!
Well, you can't. I'll tell you what, that fucking competition was fucking lame, mate. Nobody fucking bothered answering.
Fuck them, I'll keep it. Haters. Anyone else got anything about the Tottering Day cards? John, do you celebrate that in Spain?
I celebrate it.
Were you dancing in the streets, a bottle of Jack in one hand and another bottle in the other hand?
I did my usual, except that, triple this time instead of a double.
Oh, very good. Right, final question, which is a bit of a moot point, is from Dave Gardner, who is at Dave Mr. Lean. He says, if Bergkamp was to join the Spuds with De Boer, would you change the name of the podcast, and what would the new name be?
Bergkamp, you're a cunt podcast.
The artist formerly known as Bergkamp Wonderland.
Yeah, no. In all seriousness, if he went anywhere near that lot, like that fucking statue has got to go.
It will be gone. It'll be my mate Rich will nick it and melt it down.
I don't like I say. I don't think he'll go there. I mean, he wouldn't lower himself. Ajax are a bigger club than Tottenham, so I can't see him lowering himself.
Anyone else got any views on this?
I just want to throw up.
Could be pregnant, morning sickness. Oh, the irony. Go on in, Gimli.
Well, no, he ain't going to go there, is he? He's got more class about him than that. He loves Arsenal Football Club. Why would he want to go to them cunts for?
Unless he takes statue with him.
Yeah, if he does, I'll fucking rip the statue down and send it to him.
With your bare sheepy hands.
See, I'm calling him a prick, and he hasn't even gone there yet. Sorry, I'm not.
You're in a parallel universe where he did go, is what you
mean. So don't fucking start tweeting me saying, "Oh, you're a cunt." Because no,
it's theoretical.
So if that's the questions over, then should we do some predictions for West Brom?
Give it a go.
Go on then.
I'll say 4-0 and Ozil first scorer.
Okay, FK.
3-1 Ramsey, although I am subject to change. I'm subject to change until Sunday, Danny.
Oh, God.
Because there was
Jeff's not here, and he's going to copy me, so I can't flip in. He's going to park that damn bus.
There was a little bit of a conspiracy because one of the podcast members lodged a formal complaint that FK didn't actually make a prediction for the West Ham game, so I had to screenshot the text he sent me. We're not going to say who that is, are we, John?
Me, bastard. Son of a bitch.
John?
Or do you want to wait till 5 minutes into the game, John?
I think we'll. Fuck you. You're such a, I think we'll win. I think we'll score multiple goals. I'm saving my predictions for a personal DM.
Okay. Finally, you, Gav?
Yeah, we're going to win 5-0. And
Diaby.
no. Let's be serious. Jenkinson, no. In fact, let's even go worse than that. I tell you what, boys, right? Because I'm miles behind everyone, right? If we win 5-0, right, and Giroud scores the first goal with his right foot, do I get double points?
No, fuck off.
No,
because you're too close to me for that.
All right then.
I don't care.
I'll go 2-0 Cazorla then.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit,
Danny's
I've already wrote.
lost. He couldn't give a fuck.
And I could fiddle it. I can't be bothered to fiddle it.
I'm going 3-1. I would have gone 3-1 Ramsey, but that's already been taken, so I'll go 3-0 Ozil.
Oh.
Something different.
And the listeners at home and in the tractor? Oh, thank you very much. I've made a note of all of those. All 7,000 of you.
Fantastic stuff. We'll finish then with some shout-outs, and we will go to Gav first.
Yeah, my first one. 32 years ago today, a young lad called John Dickinson was murdered by West Ham fans on his way home from an Arsenal game. So I'd like to give a shout out to all his mates, all his family, and the fact that 32 years later, he's not going to be forgotten. So, rest in peace, John.
John?
Mine this week is going to go to Gooner Dave, 66. Has the Geordie Armstrong book coming out.
I've pre-ordered mine.
Yep.
And also Gary Prince, at Gary Prince, who's been on the pod before. Both sensible, rational Gooners. So go give them a follow.
And that means like 10 times more coming from anybody else, because normally if John doesn't like someone, he fucking block them. FK?
Oh, it's going to be Gooner Dave, but go follow him. Also, there's a lady called Letty, LE77Y64 on Twitter, who's quite witty, and just a quick thanks to her, because I met her at the pub the last couple of games, and she's just a lovely lady. So Letty, who is at LE77Y64.
Can I give another one out? Sorry to butt in.
Go on,
yeah, I've been speaking, and he's bought a couple of bits and pieces off me. The Reverend David Messer, who's at Messer Stanton, Stanton, and he promised me that on the semi-final, he'd have his She Wore badge pin and yellow ribbon on his robes, and we won. And he's bought another type of badge pin and a polo shirt, and he says he's going to wear it again on when he does his preaching and stuff on the final day as well. So thank you very much, Reverend.
Amen to that.
It's always nice.
Yeah, God's on our side, boys. God's on our side.
God's a gooner.
The Queen's a gooner, so's God. Come on.
I thought you said you didn't agree with religion, Danny.
I don't. Fuck them. They're only
Fine.
religion. Fuck them. They're only gods. No, that only works for right backs and keepers. I'll have to take that back. Sorry. Didn't mean it.
No, carry on, because it's your turn to shout out those people that have you like.
Oh, well, mine is two very sad ones. It's 20 years ago today, one of my favourite ever Formula 1 drivers died, and I doubt very much he's listening to the podcast, but I thought it would be nice to just mention Ayrton Senna, or Ayrton Senna as it should be said. It's one of my favourite drivers ever. And it's very sad. I watched 3 documentaries on Sky about it this weekend. It just reminded you, go out and watch the film Senna if you can, and it's absolutely amazing. And my other one is a really sad one as well, and a lot of people may agree with this, but Tito Villanova, who sadly passed away this week. He's only 45 years old. That's like a year and a half older than me. He had cancer of the saliva gland a few years ago, and he thought it had gone, it had come back. And he got taken into hospital, I think, a week ago, and then he sadly died this week. And as people forget, but his Barcelona record as manager was fantastic. Played 45, won 34, and that's a 75% win rating. And he also worked with all of the youngsters. You've got the Messiah. They've got the one before that for the 11 and 12-year-olds. He worked there. I think he had the likes of Fabregas and Messi there. And then he worked up. He was working manager of the B team, assistant manager of the B team with Guardiola. And then they both took over the first team together. And so it's just I thought it was really, really sad because anybody who knew him, I didn't know him, obviously, but anyone who knew him said it was just an absolutely lovely bloke. So it's really sad, and I was quite shocked to hear that.
Absolute class act.
Mm.
The shout-outs have been really morbid tonight, haven't they? Hopefully I'll pick it up. My shout-out goes to...
Little Mezzet?
No. My best friend and brother who's about to become a dad for the first time.
How fucking... When is this baby going to turn up? Because you've been doing that shout-out for the past fucking 6 weeks.
She's in labour now.
Is she a fucking elephant? Is she a fucking elephant or something? Is it like a fucking 2-year gestation period or something?
Let him start that again, Gimli. That was very
baby?
nice.
Who said baby?
Hey, not yours. You be quiet. Nothing to do with you.
It might be. Probably is.
Go on, Gim. Start that again, because that's your mate we're talking about.
My shout-out tonight goes to my best friend and brother who's about to become a dad for the first time. He's a massive gooner, so go check him out on Twitter. He is at Mark Allen Hyatt, and that's MarcAllenHyatt. Best wishes to you and Helen, and I can't wait to meet your new arrival.
Oh, phew, I thought you were going to say you described me up until the at name there.
I hope he doesn't listen to this one, but I hope you haven't slept with her. I hope it is.
Sometimes you don't need to, when you got all that animal magnetism, he oozes sexual.
He probably only had to brush shoulders with her, and she's pregnant with triplets.
Well, he is.
Yeah, fertile little fucker, yeah.
He is a sexual chocolate, as he once referred to himself, and now denies that he actually said it.
The Asian sensation.
Oh, fertile from 100 meters.
He's like the Usain Bolt of pregnancy. Right then, so all that's left is to thank you boys for joining me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure as always, FK. It's lovely to have you back.
Because people have been asking where you were. They ask when your injury, have we sold you, where you gone? But now you've got stuff sorted out. You'll be on more often.
Yeah, it's great to be back. For anyone who's remotely interested, I started a new job at work, and I've just been so busy, run down. So it's great to be back, and now I'm hoping to be a regular fixture again.
Because those deep back fryers don't clean themselves today.
So many whispering eyes that have remained untouched in your absence can now get a rubbing. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and keep it Arsenal. Good night.
Happy St. Totteringhams Day, you cheeky
Buenas
monkeys.
noches.